Los Angeles Clippers, Steve, also coming off of a 50-win season, 50-32. They were 15th in offense, 3rd in defense, 5th in net rating last season. And Steve, I'll toss it to you. What are you most excited about with this Clippers group?
No. What we're going to do here is we're going to call a quick timeout. There's no way you watch that second unit play with Chris Paul and you're going to sit here and pass me the ball. I just want that noted on record that was outrageous, because I know you've been bursting at the seams waiting to talk about Chris Paul, and you're going to act like you're not, and I'm not going to let you get away with it. But for me with the Clippers, I think this is a team where it's their depth and it's their lineup versatility, and they've got a lot of talent that I don't think we've felt from the Clippers. I think we've always known they've had pieces, they've had defense, they've had players, but okay, what's missing? Is the small lineup going to hit? Do they have enough around James and Kawhi? Does James have to create everything? They've got a lot. Zubac obviously improved, but now you bring in Bradley Beal, you bring in John Collins, you bring in Brook Lopez, you bring in Chris Paul. That's just a lot of skill and IQ on top of what they have base-wise when it comes to having size and versatility and defense. And so I think blending that together gives the Clippers kind of a lift throughout the regular season to a degree, because we can kind of move through these, and then in the playoffs, it's not, you have to take a lot more away in theory, because the talent that I mentioned, they are good. They don't have to do as much as they had to do in previous stops. That feels important. And so you can manage James Harden, Kawhi Leonard a little bit better than you have, which, by the way, Kawhi seems ready, and he might be inspired. And the league might find out.
He couldn't even finish. I'm sure Steve aspired to get that joke off without laughing, but unfortunately. Okay. I am right there with you. I think the second unit is going to be a ton of fun. I am excited to see Chris Paul in this context, Bradley Beal in this context, John Collins, who already just seems to be in heaven. You mean to tell me all these dudes can pass the ball? And also this defense is good enough for us to just get transition opportunities, which means I get to run again? Sign me up. And then here's Brook Lopez. Whatever you need him to do. 5 threes a game in preseason and limited minutes. Like, all right, cool. I'm cool standing out here or screening for Chris Paul in what is probably the slowest but most effective pick and roll that we've seen since Joe Ingles, Derek Favors in Utah. And we're just going to boogie. Oh, there's 7 on the clock and I have the ball? Fine. 3 dribbles, a drive, some kind of turnaround nonsense that's going in, because I was once one of the best post scorers in basketball too. And it's just like, what are you supposed to do with that? And so I certainly get the age concerns, and I do have an age-related question to get to shortly about this group. But to Steve's point about them being able to kind of manage minutes, it does help to just have a bunch of these dudes. So you can go the maintenance route with a little bit more comfort. And all this is said, we haven't mentioned the name of Bogdanovic yet, who was just quietly pretty important for them in the second half of last year with his shooting and playmaking. So, like, you just have a bunch of options in addition to the core, as Steve already mentioned. Yeah, I think the second unit is going to be very good. Go ahead.
Well, I was just about to say, before you get to your next question or next portion, this may be historic. This may be the first time that Nekias Duncan has believed in the Los Angeles Clippers. And this may also be the first time that Nekias Duncan has believed in a roster that has this much age on it. We did it, folks. This is peak dunker spot.
Just know I'm pushing back in my head. But biggest question mark for me with this Clippers group, and maybe this is just my lifelong trauma watching the Miami Heat, but as excited as I am about this group, the first question that I had, like aside from health, because health is a prevalent question for all 30 teams, right? What happens when they play a fast team? What is the collective athleticism of this group, and how do they deal with teams that just want to push the pace? Like that first Clippers-Pacers game, even without Tyrese Halliburton, I'm going to be like, ooh. That first Clippers-Bulls game, and this is, again, I think they are better than the Pacers. I think they are better than the Bulls. But if we're just talking about regular season, random Tuesday, styles clash, am I going to be surprised if I turn on League Pass and the awesome Clippers broadcast and Ty Lue is shaking his head, calling the timeout because the Bulls are up 11-2 with 9:18 left in the first quarter? Not really, because I do wonder just how they're going to deal with that aspect of it. And so, like, I'm keeping an eye on that. Go ahead, jump in, Steve.
You made. I thought we were gonna get out of this segment without you calling him old, but it's okay. Not crash the glass would be my answer.
Hmm.
You're gonna see James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, if they did not take the shot, already in the backcourt.
Well, James will trot back, but
Okay.
got him.
Right.
Okay, but
not
no,
too much.
I am worried about that. And then, Steve, I want to pose a question to you. Very Nekias coded. If we get to January, we get to the All-Star break, insert point here, right? If Ivica Zubac is just firmly the second best player on this team, is that a good thing or an omen for the Clippers?
Oh, you're not going to like my answer. It's a bad thing.
Okay.
It's not a good thing. If he's performing as the second best player, or you feel like he's improved to that where you could make that argument, that is a positive. If it is very clear that he is outperforming one of their top two players, that's not a great sign, because that means one of those two top guys is not playing well. Okay. Now, if you're gonna sprinkle some oregano and efficiency on the Zubac thing and talk, we can talk about it. That's fine. But if one of those two is outright just not cooking, that's not a good sign for the Clippers. Now, they have enough depth to be able to kind of be like, hey, come sit down for a little bit. But if you're telling me either of those guys take a step back, that's concerning for me. But I think for me, it's set up well for Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. And it kind of ties into something I thought about, like how often can they hit the high notes during the regular season? Is this a team that is built to kind of get through it and improve and get good? And then if they get good, are they going to maintain it and keep going, or are they going to fall backwards? Like, are they more built for the playoffs than the regular season? That might not be the first time I say that in this episode.
If you are a long-term listener of the Dunker Spot, this is not the first time you've heard Steve say this, period. So there you go. But yeah, to be clear, like that was very open-ended for me, because I do think, especially depending on what you prioritize, like you could argue Zubac was like number 2 impact-wise for the Clippers last year, especially once you factor in the games played for Kawhi, et cetera. So I just kind of wonder within that what kind of steps we see from Zubac. Like one of the quieter storylines was Zubac coming in a little bit smaller training camp. Everyone, 15 pounds of muscle or best shape of their life, et cetera. He did come in a little bit smaller. So I was like, ooh, are they going to switch him more this year? Like, what does that look like? And so I'm just kind of keeping an eye on, does he take another step as a post scorer? Because as you noted, I think he was just good in the post last year, period. Numbers bear that out. But a lot of that efficiency was, ooh, this is a smaller player he's putting underneath the basket. Is it going to be more efficiency against like-sized bodies? Again, there was still a fair bit of that. Not saying that didn't happen last year. But if he takes a step there, does he start seeing 2 more consistently? Do we get another step for him as a passer, which was one of his quieter growth areas last year as well? And the defense he's already an elite defender, in my opinion. So, like, does he actually take that step to, kind of cute all-star name to toss into the conversation to he is an all-star flat out, he's here now?
I think with Zoo, I think him coming down in better shape is interesting to me, because he's good defensively. Can he be more active? Is his footwork better? Can he kind of show and recover a little bit more, mix in some more switching? And the roles have felt a little bit better as far as him being able to get out on some of those high pick and rolls and get to that pocket and get to that free throw line area. So is it just overall improvement in those areas on top of what he's built?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Okay, Steve, who's your breakout candidate or X Factor?
The X Factor for me with this team is Bradley Beal. How good of a Bradley Beal can the Los Angeles Clippers get? Is he going to be the real deal Bradley Beal? Are we getting Bradley real? Is that returning? Because I think one of the things is Bradley Beal went to Phoenix, that happened, and then Bradley Beal became Bradley Beal's contract. He's no longer Bradley Beal's contract, and he's playing for the Los Angeles Clippers in a context that should help him. And I think the Clippers have done a great job of saying, hey, remember that all that time you used to spend off the ball running off screens? Can you do that? Hey, man, remember when you played defense? Can you do that again as well? Appreciate you. And so I think it's people kind of forget Bradley Beal is a hell of a basketball player. And so if he can get back to that in this context, buddy, what are you going to do?
I have felt like a crazy person the last 2 or 3 years when I randomly reference, like, hey, in Washington, you got to go all the way back to the John Wall days, which I think is part of the problem. I was like, he was just kind of solid as a defender on top of the scoring stuff. Like, this is a thing that we got to see on the basketball court before. Obviously, different stage of his career now. And even going back to the end of the Phoenix tenure, he just scored incredibly efficiently for them. And it just did not matter because of the defense, and he has to take ownership of that. And also, to your point, he was the contract instead of the player. And so more consistent effort defensively. It sounds like Ty Lue is certainly going to challenge him on that end and give him some assignments that he probably shouldn't have with some of the personnel that the Clippers have. But like as a way to, you got to do this, big dog. I'm excited to see what engaged, empowered, motivated Bradley Beal looks like in this context. I'm right there with you, Steve. I think for me, John Collins is probably the big one, figuratively and literally. The roles I think are going to be there. And if the Clippers do see switching, it helps that he's going to be playing alongside Chris Paul and or James Harden. That could just hit him with slips again, take him back to like the Trae Young days in Atlanta. So he should have those. The three-point shooting, I think it's fair to just say he is a good shooter at this point. Like he has grown the shot enough over the past few seasons, and the percentages kind of bear that out. I think he is just a solid pop threat at this point. That's going to be there. Defensively, how well does he hold up in space? I do have a secondary. How often will we actually see him at the 5, considering they have Zubac and Brook Lopez? Like, is that going to be more of a Zoo's naturally starting, but Brook Lopez is getting a maintenance day, so now we can actually lean into some Collins at the 5 in this matchup against Charlotte or something? Cool. How does he hold up there? And as far as like secondary guys, I know the defense for Chris Dunn's going to be there. He's going to defend at an all defense level in low minutes. I know Derrick Jones Jr. is going to defend his tail off. What is the 3-point percentage for either? Because teams are going to play them with gaps. Teams are going to sprinkle in their centers, quote unquote, guarding them when they're on the floor sometimes. Will they hit enough shots? If they hit, that accentuates the lineup versatility and the things they could tap into. Steve, what do you think the best Clipper lineup is going to be?
Well, before I get to that, I did want to touch on the John Collins of it all, because I feel like watching the preseason, it's like this fit feels even better than I thought it would. Mm-hmm. Especially him and Brook both being able to do similar things in different ways, where it's like, okay, whichever one you think is not going to be the roller will now be the roller, and the other one's going to space. And John Collins, as a roller, always becomes a much better player in my eyes. And so being able to get him in those positions without us having to say John Collins has to play the 5 for this team for it to work, feels like a positive for both sides. So I think that's the win of it all. Now, what lineup do I most want to see from the Los Angeles Clippers? We'll get to that in a second. The lineup that I think will unlock a lot of things for the Los Angeles Clippers. Give me James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, Nick Batum, and Zubac.
Ooh. Okay. I like it. Steve, this may shock you. I think the Clippers starting lineup, however it unfolds, is going to be an elite group. I think their best performing lineup is going to be some variation of their second unit. I went Chris Paul, Chris Dunn, Nicholas Batum, John Collins, Brook Lopez. Fantastic. I think when you do your minimum of 150 minutes or minimum 200 possessions, whatever filtering you want to do, I think that grouping is going to be the best for the Clippers this year. I think they're going to blitz second units this year. As far as the lineup that I most want to see, James Harden, Bradley Beal, Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr., Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if we ever see it in a regular season game, and if we do, it's probably be like a total of 8 minutes. But that feels like a lot of defense around the stars. Secondary creation and Bradley Beal on top of that. Like I would like to see that group at some point. And I have a secondary one, but I'll let you rock. What's the lineup that you most want to see?
The lineup that I most want to see? The Unction.
The Unction.
Chris Paul, James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, Brook Lopez. Let me see it. Give it to me. I want to see it.
The darn Unction. The second one that I had, I guess is Unction adjacent. Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr., Nicholas Batum. The actual like small ball 5, the option for the last few seasons for the Clippers. So that would be it for me there.